I feel like the ghost of Steve is infecting our hardware. It's a payback for the wall. He didn't die or anything. No, it's just Bloomberg probably wishes he would. But anyway, moving on. We have been continuing to try and work on our driver regression testing to see how drivers have aged with 50 series. The only thing that seems to be aging is our test bench.
And us with testing this crap.
So that we already showed you guys the drive problem, right? Which reared its ugly head in our system finally, and then we had to get around that. And then a new problem that is actually another one of those like, this is the way the problem's presenting itself, and the fix is absolutely not what you would have ever thought it would have been. So we're going to talk about that.
Before that, we got halfway through our testing, and then NVIDIA dropped a new driver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the middle of that video, literally, NVIDIA had dropped another driver, which we thought were going to fix some of the problems we were seeing, but no. We were having a major GPU problem that was not anything to do with the GPU at all. Be Quiet is proud to introduce their all-new light mount and dark mount ultra-silent mechanical keyboards. Optimized for an ultra-quiet typing experience with factory-lubricated silent linear or tactile switches and 3 separate layers of sound dampening. Light mount features a full-size keyboard with an aluminum media wheel and 5 macro keys for streamlined access, while dark mount provides a more modular keyboard with hot-swappable numpad and media dock. Both feature sleek aesthetics, hot-swappable switches, ARGB lighting, and a magnetic palm rest, and are the perfect choice for those who demand comfort, customization, and silence. For more details, visit the sponsored link in the description below. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about here specifically today is like major micro stuttering or major hitching. Let me explain the difference between micro stutter and hitching. Micro stutter almost feels like it'll report high frame rates, but your eyes perceives it as almost like a strobe light effect. Like it almost feels like every other frame is actually not being drawn, but like FPS counters will show like, hey, I'm getting 200 FPS, but I move the mouse and everything looks really like, I don't know, strobe effecty. It's the best way to explain it. And then major hitches, in my opinion, is when you're moving the mouse, you move the character and there's a pause and then it moves, right? And that's like, we're no longer talking about maybe 8 milliseconds per frame. We're talking like 800 milliseconds for a frame. So Phil actually figured this out because he was doing the testing while I was out on Friday, and he discovered the issue, which is another one of those like, why is this a thing? So let's demonstrate the problem first, and then we'll talk about what it is and how to fix it. And I know you guys are like, just talk about the problem. Well, I'm gonna show you first, okay? This is a class, this is a master class. We're gonna demonstrate. Now, I can't say that this is gonna be a fix for everybody, but I can tell you in this particular scenario what the problem actually was. Now, we are running a 5090 on this. I have personally seen this happen on this title with lesser graphics cards. We tried recreating it with a 5070. It wasn't doing it in the same way. So we think it has something to do with, high frame rates kind of hitting the CPU, and then some other stuff that happens in the background here. So let's pay attention to this real quick. So this is PresentMon. The top line, the blue line is CPU busy, the yellow line is GPU busy. I know they look really far apart, but the scale is only from 6 to 8 milliseconds right there. Now, if I start moving my mouse around right now, it might be hard for you to see. Oh, there they go. You see those? Look at that. Now look at the GPU power. Now if I'm holding still, see the GPU power is raising back up, 370 watts right there. I don't even know what resolution we're in. I think we're in 4K. But watch, as I move around, big, oh, look at that. Oh, huge stutters right there. And look at the GPU power. Look how much it's dropping, right? Look at the GPU util. It drops into the 60s. Now watch, if I stop moving, there it is, 90, there's 75, 80, 95. There was a big stutter right there. You can even see it. And you can see it represented by the CPU right there. In fact, it even stuttered again without me even moving it. See right there in the GPU? Now watch this. Now, nobody plays games this way. Let me just walk, right? Let me show you. There's a stutter, there's a stutter. Look at this, look at these stutters. You'll see them represented here too in spikes. Big stutter. You can even hear on you won't be able to hear it, but I can hear the coil whine. Yeah, the 90 series Founders cards coil whine real bad. But every big stutter and hiccup is followed by this dip in power, which means the GPU has to wait for something. Now, what do you think the problem actually is? We have done the driver updates, obviously, because we've tested 3 or 4 drivers now in the past over the past week, trying to get through this video. And driver DDU uninstalls, all of that makes absolutely no difference to this. This is where you really start trying to figure out how do we dig down into what's happening. Now check this out. I can make this problem even worser. Are you ready? So the stuttering and stuff has happened. Now watch if I unplug my mouse. Boom, right? No mouse. Plug the mouse back into the same USB. No mouse. There is no mouse at all. Let's change the USB it's plugged into. We'll go into one of the dedicated, they call them lightning USBs, which are for inputs. Nothing. No mouse. Just completely dead. Now I still have a keyboard, right? Now the keyboard's gone. And with no inputs to shut it down, I'm just gonna hit the power button on the motherboard because Windows is set to, okay, there we go. Windows is set to, if power button's pressed, to shut down normally. Now what's gonna happen is it will infinitely sit here on shutting down. Now I know this is a problem many of you have experienced. I've gotten plenty of emails and messages from people saying my system won't shut down. Like I was playing my game and the system started acting really weird and my mouse stopped working and then shutdown isn't working. Like, I have received this email a million times. And then people are like, well, I just restart my system and everything's fine until it kind of randomly does it again. So now I'm gonna have to actually shut down the power supply. It's the only way I can get the system to come back. And as I do that and turn it back on, keyboard, mouse, and everything will be working like normal. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take you to the event log so you can actually see what Windows was seeing, and you'll never guess what the problem was. So on the left, if you click Windows logs and then we double check system, this will tell us everything that was happening. So let me scroll this down right here. You can see the date and time. This is all the reboots right here. Windows firewall with advanced, right, blah, 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 blah. Look at all these errors right here. Look at this, error. Now, all of these MTK, WECX, look at that, they're all IO fail. Now I demonstrated the fact that the IO failed because everything on the back of the motherboard stopped working. Now, here's the crazy part about this. What's actually causing this is the built-in wireless / Bluetooth adapter in the motherboard. So what happens is at some point with it active and in a game, in this instance, it works with all of our manually input games. It doesn't work at all with any of our like synthetic benchmarks, like they're all smooth because we're not inputting anything. So any title right now with this system, the way it is, using a keyboard and mouse, that hitching and stuttering will happen. And then eventually, we demonstrated by if you unplug the USB, it doesn't reinitialize when you plug it back in. Had I not unplugged it, it would have kept working. I would do a restart and then you would just be chasing your tail going, why the hell am I stuttering in all my games? And you'd start losing your mind going, the drivers suck and this GPU sucks and blah, blah, blah. And it's not that at all. So the way we actually validated that is what's actually happening is going into the BIOS, going into the integrated components, and then disabling the wireless in it, which will disable the Bluetooth as well. And then the problem is fine. Now, we could do that with this system, and we could be perfectly fine, because we're hardwired only. We want a full control over this system and the way it connects to the internet, plus since it's our GPU benchmark system, we don't use the wireless or any of that. So we could get away with turning that off, but many of you, probably most of you, can't get away with turning that off. So what we did is we went into the ASRock webpage to download the latest driver for the device. Now, I would have preferred to get the actual driver direct from the manufacturer of the device. Even though it's an integrated component, they still have their own drivers and firmwares and stuff that you can get. Unfortunately, MediaTek, when it's a device like this that's integrated into a motherboard, does not have public-facing drivers. You got to get them through the motherboard manufacturer. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to our downloads here, and here they are right here, and see if this fixes our problem. I hope it does, especially since it looks like only about 2 weeks ago they came out with new drivers for this, which means this is more than likely a Windows update that affected the hardware in some way. Don't say that can't happen. But we don't understand why the problem is being initiated, like it's happening specifically with gaming. So it has to have something to do with the way that the I/O and the game and resources are allocated. I have no idea. This is where you guys would have to kind of chime in, understanding maybe on a kernel level or a development level why that's the case. Like we could use the mouse here all day long and be fine, no problems whatsoever. It's only when we got into games that have a manual input with a high frame rate on something like a 5090, and then the problem just is exactly as you saw. I'm hoping this fixes it because this is the most logical path to fixing it. The logical path to fixing it is you update the firmware or the driver, and then it works. Well, that's the first time we heard the disconnect sound.
I was getting a lot of that when...
Phil was getting a lot of that when he was doing his testing. He would hear the constant USB sound of connect, disconnect. How many people are used to hearing that on AMD systems? I'll be honest, that's one thing AMD's known for, is just the random disconnect, reconnect sounds, and you're left wondering what the hell it was. You could find it in the viewer, but so far though.
Looks like it still exists.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing it so much.
It's not as bad, but I mean, if you look at the graph.
Yeah, I see that. Let's see. Oh, there's another disconnect sound. You hear it? It reconnected. Let's see if I can turn this up. But look at that, the stuttering is fine now. Oh, oh, it's back. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you hear it, disconnect, reconnect. It improved, but I personally, yeah, and see the mouse is lit up because before the light would go off, right? Right, and it's back. Well, before it wasn't doing that. So, okay, I want to take a look at the logs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Did you see them toggle though? Like they went away and came back.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Didn't do it right there. Look at the replay. When I opened it, both of those icons went flat and came back. So I caught that. All right, let's see here what we got. So Windows logs, driver surprise remove.
It's surprised? Yeah, it also surprised me when you removed yourself.
Driver unload.
Yeah.
Driver initialize. Low power information. IO fail. Bluetooth dump SOP. Driver surprise remove. So I just went to the device manager, found the wireless, and I right-click uninstall device, and that should try and remove the driver for it. I want to remove the driver entirely. Now I'm going to reinstall my driver. I don't want to do a restart because I don't want Windows to try and automatically install anything. I want to control the driver. Okay, wireless is there. You are experiencing...
Now you are experiencing a car accident.
I literally was doing the whole "you're experiencing a car accident." I was gonna say you were experiencing an issue, right? It did that. Driver unload, driver initialize, low power information, D3 cold support, driver unload, driver initialize, low power information, SAR info, D3 cold support. Okay, well, what we're gonna do, because this is our test bench, is we're just gonna disable the device in the BIOS. But you can't do that if you need your wireless. So I guess in the meantime, if you're experiencing this problem with the major stuttering and whatnot, or the constant disconnect, reconnect sounds, look at your event viewer, see what it is. And then if it's your wireless or your Bluetooth or anything like that, you might have to buy yourself a wireless card. Fortunately, they're not that expensive. But yeah, we never would have guessed that our problem was wireless card driver affecting game stutters. All right, there you go. Let me know if this helps you at all. It doesn't help you if you need your thing to work.
Unfortunately.
Well, you have three options. Hope a driver install fixes it for you. This is probably limited to the Tai Chi board or people using MediaTek wireless devices with potential whatever Windows is happening now. So uninstall, reinstall your driver, pray. Then there is buy a wireless or a new wireless device card, like a card, PCI Express card, right? Or potentially USB-C, but I would go with PCI Express over USB-C cards, or disable it entirely in your BIOS. Those are like the three options if your problem is related to this. Okay, well, we seem to have, I know Halloween season's coming up, but man, are the possessions starting early.